Eunice Kennedy Shriver was born to Joseph and Rose Kennedy, one of 9 children. Her brother John would go on to be President of the United States. Her brothers Robert and Edward became senators. Her sister Jean would become an ambassador, but it was Eunice's older sister, Rosemary, who perhaps had the greatest impact on her.
We had a sister, Rosemary, who was challenged intellectually, and Eunice would spend the extra time with Rosemary, teaching her and making sure that she felt included.
My sister Rosemary was extremely good in sports and in recreation, and it was one of the things really that kept her very close to the family.
It was that relationship that led to Eunice Kennedy Shriver's passion and her life's work. After receiving a bachelor's degree from Stanford, she married Sergeant Shriver, and together they had 5 children: Bobby, Maria, Timothy, Mark, and Anthony. She took over the direction of the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Foundation, dedicated to seeking the prevention of intellectual disabilities by identifying its causes, and to improving the means by which society deals with citizens who have intellectual disabilities. Under Kennedy Shriver's leadership, the foundation achieved many significant advances, including the establishment by President John F. Kennedy of the President's Committee on Mental Retardation, the development of the National Institute for Child Health and Human Development, and the establishment of a network of research centers at major medical schools across the United States. It is through her efforts that Centers for the Study of Medical Ethics were created at Harvard and Georgetown universities.
My mother may have appeared in the dresses trying to help my uncle get elected congressman, senator, or president, but behind the dress was a very sharp political operative who had big visions, how she was going to change the world for the mentally disabled, and she was going to make sure her brother, if he were elected president, was going to do that, and he did.
In her own words, she was enraged at the way those with intellectual disabilities were treated. Kennedy Shriver believed that, given the same opportunities and experiences as others, people with intellectual disabilities were far more capable than commonly believed. So in 1962, Eunice Kennedy Shriver started Camp Shriver in her backyard.
One of my earliest memories was as a 5-year-old seeing a summer camp take place outside my house. It was a camp that included games of kickball, swimming in a swimming pool, and even pony rides. As a 5-year-old, my job was to go out and play, to have fun with the campers, to join in the action, to make a difference by having a great time. I didn't know those campers were different in those days, but as it turns out they were. They came from places where the idea of having fun, the idea of being accepted, the idea of being welcomed by others was unknown. But there at that camp, they saw a different possibility. They saw the possibility of joining in community, having a great time, and celebrating one another through the joy of sports, the joy of recreation, the joys of friendship.
The Camp Shriver concept that through sports people with intellectual disabilities can realize their potential for growth began to spread, and in July of 1968, the first Special Olympics Games were held in Chicago. What began as one woman's idea evolved into a global movement that today serves more than 3 million people with intellectual disabilities in nearly 200 nations around the world. There are now both World Winter Games and World Summer Games. Documentaries, wide world of sports presentations, feature films, cross-aisle congressional teamwork, and relentlessly positive word of mouth have educated the planet about the Special Olympics and the capabilities of the individuals it serves. Through her actions, Eunice Kennedy Shriver initiated a social justice movement and a global culture of hope, heralding a new era of inclusion and dignity for those with intellectual disabilities.
The right to play on any playing field, you have earned it. The right to study in any school, you have earned it. The right to hold a job, you have earned it.
We learned very early that you didn't have to be a senator or a president to make a difference. And I think Eunice touched people's lives more than some presidents of the United States.
Through her life's work, Eunice Kennedy Shriver proved that each one of us is empowered to make a difference. Hobart and William Smith Colleges recognize Eunice Kennedy Shriver for her unyielding determination and her passionate advocacy, and for her ability to create a community of joy and inclusion that has become a global movement. For her outstanding service to humanity, Hobart and William Smith Colleges honor Eunice Kennedy Shriver with the Elizabeth Blackwell Award.